Hey, what's up guys? This is ACP Native Awesome Combo Pro. Today we're going to talk a little bit about creating groups and the use of variables inside groups because it can be a little bit confusing. And so to start, we got to make some objects. We're going to click right here and I'm just going to click new object from scratch. We're going to make a sprite and let's just name it, I don't know, we'll just do capital O for object 1. Okay, there we go. And let's go to variables here, and we're going to add a few variables to it. So click that, and let's see, we'll do a few. We'll do a number, a text, boolean, and we'll do this last one is either a structure or an array. So it has some children here. Let's do that. Okay, sounds good. Now, let's just go over here, and I'm going to duplicate this a few times and fast forward so you don't have to watch this whole thing. Okay, now we have these different groups. So I went ahead and I made, by duplicating these, what I should point out is that these variables, you don't have to put them in every single time. So if you have objects that are going to be using the same kind of variables, it's a very good practice because then you don't have to go in and redo it and have the chance of making errors. So right here, objects 1, 2, 3, and 4 have a different object name, but they have the same variables. Now, here's where it's really helpful, but also kind of tricky. Right down here, when you have the scene groups, we can go ahead and create this. So let's say maybe we have the O group. And let's go ahead and put those in there. Okay. And you can see here that it shows, we're in the O group right now. You can see it has the exact same list of variables. It's showing that they have these variables. Very helpful if we wanted to do a change to every single thing in the group. Now we go right here and we make another one, S group, and we add all those, and you're going to see a very similar scenario, right, where it shows that all these have the variables. Okay, so now we click on those, boom, they're all there. Okay, it looks exactly the same because all of the objects inside this group have the exact same values, so they show up. Okay, now let's say you know that these are items, all right, like items in your inventory, and we have, you know, I don't know, object 1 maybe is I don't know, bows, right, bow and arrows, and then maybe this S is a sword, something like that, right? So these are all of our bows in object group 0, and S group is all of our swords. Now let's say we made another group, right, and we were like all. This is every type of item that we could possibly have. We add all these. Okay, so there it is. It shows us again that all of them have these variables again, which is very helpful if we wanted every single object to have the exact same variable input. Now, if we go into each of these individually, and we change a variable, like let's say the first one right here, we just change it. Let's just make it 1. Okay, suddenly this object 1 variable is now different than object 2, 3, 4, all that. See, these ones don't have it. But what happens, and it can get kind of confusing, is when you go to the group, suddenly it says mixed values, and what it's telling you is in this group they are no longer all the same. It's telling you that these variables still exist for everything in the group, but it starts showing you mixed values. Now if you start doing something like in this area where there's children or like other variables inside this variable folder, so to speak, right, these are actually going to disappear. So let's say that we go here to object 1 again, and we change only this one, object 1's variable, we change that to a 1 now. Well, what happens is if we go to the O group, look at the variables. They're suddenly gone, and you can't change anything in the group because what it's telling you is something inside this object group is different than all the other ones. They're no longer all the same. So you have to be careful when you're editing your variables inside groups or individually as a scene object. Because if you're kind of doing both, right, then you might end up with something like this, and it sort of closes the door and it might get hard to manage. Especially if, let's go back in here, and let's put this back to 0, and this one here back to 0. See, everything should match up now, and we go in here. See, now they're all like this, right? Let's say that we wanted something to affect all of our objects, all, you know, the swords, the bows, everything, right? So we'd say to ourselves, okay, well, I'm going to go to the all group here. I'm going to go to the variable. I'm going to change this to 1. And I'm going to change this one to 1. Well, this is going to force that upon these individual objects. So if I go back to object 1, suddenly they're back, and you might think, well, wait a minute, I just deleted those, right? But if we go here to, like, you know, S2, we're going to see that it also changed those as well. See, it forced all of those changes from the scene group onto these individuals. So it can be confusing when you're trying to edit your variables on individual objects and also right here in your scene groups. So let's get this back down to 0. So we're doing it to all, so it's going to change everything. All right, so now if we go back here, like to S2 or something, it's all back to 0. So if you've made changes to a specific object, like for instance S2, let's say we make this one, let's go to here, to this one, and we put like 1,000, right? Well, we might think when we go here that we'd be able to see that information, but it's just going to tell you that all the objects in that group have mixed values. So some possible workarounds is maybe not to use object variables or to edit the variables inside the group itself, because it could get confusing if you want each sword or each bow to have unique abilities. Maybe something to do would be, if you right click in the scene here, you can open up scene properties. Maybe making scene properties would be a workaround. Or maybe going over here and going to global variables and adding them there as well. Maybe you can make counters or something that cause each object to look at that global variable, like maybe a level up or something like that. If your character is level 10 and you want each object to respond to the fact that your character is level 10, it can do something like that, as opposed to trying to manage both your individual object variables and the group variables. Okay, so not a whole lot of visual wows in this tutorial, but I do think it's helpful to understand where that confusion can take place. All right, my friends, stay creative, and I'll see you later.